Generally, women are better at taking care, generally women are better at taking care of children than men and vice versa. But yeah, no, I don't have, like I said, I'm definitely not judging women that are just like, absolutely not, I can't stay home, like I gotta go get a career, so, but that's just not me.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is yellow. Who is your future husband? God knows that, so.
Somebody says you should join the Amish.
No thank you.
Careful, it's very side heavy, sweetheart. I could put something.
Why do you want to be so dependent on your husband? Really know the person. I know a lot of the time people just date around and they, date, many different people, and then they rush into marriage and they don't really know the person that they married. But for me, it's not going to be like that. I really, really want to get to know the person on a very deep level and really, really know their heart and know their love for God, to know that they're not going to divorce me, leave me, cheat, or any of these type of things. That's why it's so important to, really get to know your person and date for a while, maybe even go to premarital counseling and things like that. So by the time I actually marry my husband, I'm going to know 100% sure that this is the man God has for me, and this is a man that is not going to divorce, that's not going to cheat, that's not going to leave me, that is going to provide. It's not. I feel like we should be dependent on each other. So, he's dependent on me. He trusts me that I'm going to take care of our children, that I'm going to be responsible and that I'm going to make food for him and clean the house. And at the same time, I am going to be financially dependent on him. And I think that it's beautiful, actually. I know some people think, oh, that's not, you should, have a backup plan and things like that. I think it's beautiful. A man, depends on the woman, and the woman depends on the man. We're a team, so. Yeah, and actually in marriage, and the Bible talks about that you actually are not one flesh anymore, you actually become one. So you're actually one person at that time. And so just like you trust yourself, you also trust your husband. So.
What's your opinion on Gypsy Rose?
Gypsy Rose, oh, was that lady that we were just hearing about last night? Hang on, I'm trying to remember what it was.
It was like medical abuse.
I feel very, very, very sad for her, what she went through, of course.
Just devastated.
Obviously, very devastated for what she had to go through is how I feel. I mean, yeah.
Brooklyn says, I just don't like how all the responsibility is put on the women. I mean, it's the man's kids too.
Well, the thing is all the responsibility, you said all the responsibility. Well, at home, that is her responsibility, but there are lots of responsibility when it comes to work. So it's interesting because I do know a lot of people will say, oh, why should the women have to do all that? Well, right now with feminism, women have to take care of their children and they have to go out and have a career and all this kind of stuff. Whereas this is, the man, he has no easy job. He is out there and he is working hour after hour after hour at work, to make a living and to make an income to bring home, for his family to spend, it's just joint responsibility. It's not that, neither of them has a harder job. It's, the woman has this job and the man has that job, and neither one is more important or lesser than the other. Now, I'm not saying that if your husband is only working part-time or something like that, or if he's just, maybe he owns his own business, and so he does, and he just works part-time, and he's not really that busy, and he's home a lot. Yeah, I'm not saying that he can't help out, but generally, if your husband is out and he is working for hours and hours, maybe they're working 10, 12, 16 hours a day, then I would feel, as that, person's wife, that I would want to, when he comes home from work, I want to greet him at the door with, a nice cooked meal, and I want all of our children to be, calm and to look nice, and our house to be all put together. Like, I just feel like it's a team. So I think that it's a beautiful.
Probably also that's just what was modeled to you, so it was beautiful to you. Well, you liked that.
That's true. I grew up with my mom staying home, and I can't even imagine now, as a child, what if my mom had left and I was just, stuck in public school and daycare and things like that? My life would be very different. It was so amazing to every time I would wake up in the morning, there's my mom. There she is. There wasn't a certain time. It wasn't quick, wake up, you got to go to school and all this kind of stuff. It was so peaceful, and there's my mom, and she read the Bible to us, and she was with us all the time. We were never dropped off at babysitter's house. We were never, we actually were even homeschooled too. And so, I just think it's such a, it's such a beautiful thing in a way that I want to raise my children too, with when they wake up, they know mommy's going to be there. And when they go to bed, they know mommy's going to be there. They're not going to go anywhere. So, thank you so much for the crown. So, yeah.
What somebody was saying, what's the big thing that's going to take so many to hell, the big hoax?
I will get to that. Someone said, would you be comfortable in a bunch of diamonds? No, I'm not. No. No, I would just feel too guilty to have tons of diamonds when there's people that are dying and people that are suffering. No, absolutely not. Anyway, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was saying the big hoax that is going to take most people to hell or something. I would just say unbelief is probably.
You're saying like the Antichrist? Is that what you're saying?
No, as far as the thing that'll send the most people to hell, like atheism or
definitely unbelief is the number one sin. Yeah, because Christians, I mean, as Christians, we don't commit habitual sin. So we're not out there and saying, well, God can, God forgives, so I'm going to continue to commit adultery or something like that. Absolutely not. So, but Christians are not perfect. So there will be some times where, maybe you get a little harsh with your child and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And at the end of the day, you go and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And you pray to God and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. So Christians are not perfect. So obviously there's sometimes where we can get angry or we can lash out at someone and, we feel bad for it. But, there's a difference between, a habitual sinner, so someone that is just a verbal abuser, that is just going on and on and on and on, versus someone that, every now and then, they get upset and they apologize. And so, so I don't think that it's any specific sins that necessarily send us to hell, but rather, unbelief is the number one reason why someone will go to hell. Thank you so much for Isaac for all the gifts. I keep seeing that, keep sending stuff. Thank you. And everyone that has sent gifts.